Hi. Um, Always get nervous starting videos like this, and then once I get started talking, I'm totally fine. So anyway, this is my first Flosstube video. I've been watching Flosstube videos for the last month and a half, ever since I got back into stitching, and I was thinking to myself, you know what, maybe this will be something to push me to actually, keep with it and not give up after a couple months as I've been known to do. So thought about joining up, making my own channel. So yeah. First off, starters, my name is Erica, or as I'm known on YouTube, the Cross Stitch Geek. This also matches my blog title, which I will leave a link in the description. And I'm 29 years old. I've been stitching since I was about 16 or 17, but I've been doing it in kind of chunks. I'll have like a couple years where I'll stitch, and then I won't stitch for a few years, and then I'll get back to, I want to start stitching again. So I'll stitch for about 6 months, and then I won't do it for like 3 years. And my last break was actually 5 years without a single even a start. Um, but I recently had some issues, and my mom, who taught me to stitch back when I was like, again, 16 or 17, she said, why don't you start stitching again? It's such a great stress reliever. It's a great anti-anxiety. It's a great way to keep yourself focused, because you have to focus on counting and stitching and all that. And I was like, you know what? Yeah. So I got also prompted by a pattern that I saw on Facebook, which I'll get to because it's actually one of my finishes. Um, and that I was like, I want to stitch that. So I downloaded the pattern and I stitched it. And I've been actually a bit stitch crazy since then, which is actually really cool. So what this first video is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and go over nearly all of my finishes. I don't have what I finished before 2009. So when I first started stitching, my first round of stitching, I don't have any of those finishes for whatever reason. I've moved like 5 times since I started stitching, so I could see those getting completely lost. Which is what happened. But I have everything that I have finished since 2009. So my second, or except for one, which I'll leave a picture either at the end of the video, or I'll link it to my blog. I think I have it on my blog. I don't know if I do. I think I do. But either way, I'll leave it a little tiny piece so I can understand why I lost that one. Um, but I have everything, almost except that one. I have everything that I've done in my second block of stitching from 2009 2010, and everything that I've finished since I started restitching again a month before last. So going to get, and I've got quite a few whips as well. I'll go into those. And then I'm also going to go ahead and do the Know Your Needleworker tag, since it's a good tag for a intro video. And that should be it. And then I've got a bunch of other tags I'm going to do. I'm not going to do them all in one video. I'm not going to make this like an hour long video. But okay, let's get started into the finishes. I'm over here. And these are going to be in the order that I finished them, or at least the order that I posted them to DeviantArt. So I'm going to say that's the order that I finished them. Alright, so there's this first one. This one is a character from an anime that I was watching around the time I did this piece. It was actually for a fan art exchange on LiveJournal. At that year it was on LiveJournal. And I had discovered the challenge the year before I did this piece, and I asked them, would you be okay with like a embroidery piece? Because the rules say their rules stated that your piece had to be completely done, ground up from the artist. And I was like, well, and I'm not very artistic. I can't draw straight line save my life. Even if I use a ruler, it goes like this. So I was like, what about embroidery? Would you be okay with embroidery? And they're like, oh my god, that would be so awesome. Please, yeah, that would be great. So I signed up and I decided to cross stitch, and this was my first piece. This is on 14 count Aida. All my pieces are on Aida. I don't use anything but Aida. Because when I first started, I started on 14 count, so this is 14 count Aida. And this one was a little tricky because when I charted this, one, the picture that I used wasn't really conducive to turning into a cross stitch pattern. And two, I originally charted this on KG Chart LE because it was free. I do not recommend, if you want to make your own charts, do not get KG Chart. The colors were completely wrong. I had to go through, like, his hair is like 413 and 414, 413, 414, 415, which made perfect sense given the character. But it was originally charted for like something in the 600s, I think, and it was way more green than I wanted, so I actually had to re-chart his hair. I had to replace his hair with I think this, the main part is 415, I think this part right here is 413 DMC, and I had to replace it in the program. I think I did the same thing with the flesh tone. So I don't recommend the KG Chart for making patterns. I use PC Stitch. After this fiasco of this project, I switched to PC Stitch for all further projects that I did on my own, like all my own charted projects, and I much prefer PC Stitch. So this is my next little piece. This is also on 14 count Aida. This is, if anybody recognizes it. This is the Invincibility Star from the original Super Mario games. I stitched this while I was in the middle of watching a charity marathon where these guys sat and played all of the main series Mario games non-stop over the course of a weekend. And they were prompting their viewers to submit art projects, and I wanted to do something that I could get done really quickly. So I charted this one. By this time I had switched to PC Stitch for my charting needs, so I liked that this came out a lot better. Like, perfect. Of course, it's only two colors, like 310 and 307 or something like that. And stitched it up, scanned it, and submitted it, and they loved it, and I got a shout out while I was watching the stream. It was like the coolest thing. But yeah, there's that. Then the next finish is one I did for 4th of July. I got this pattern in a little leaf, like, booklet thing I bought at Michael's by DMC. This is DMC chart. DMC's the charter. And it's a little apple pie. Or not apple pie, sorry. Little apple made to look like the American flag. And it says, as American as apple pie. And I thought that was so cute. And I actually have a picture of this on DeviantArt. It took this because I finished it right before 4th of July. Finished like just in time. And I took it to my parents' house to show it off. And they bought an apple pie for Thanksgiving, 4th of July. And it's like, oh, look, I can do my American. Look, apple pie. Buy apple pie. And this is my next one. This is a pair of leaves. It was originally supposed to. This is also from the same booklet that I got this one from. Now, if anybody knows where that pattern is, or what that pattern booklet is called, so I can search for it on eBay, I would be greatly appreciated because I love that little booklet. I love all the patterns in it, and I would absolutely love to be able to have that again so I could stitch some more of the pieces. This one was actually supposed to be 3 leaves, but the third leaf, excuse me, the third leaf was partially on one page and partially on another, and because it wasn't like the middle of the book and it like carried over, I had a hard time reading the chart, and it's almost became a UFO because of it. But then I decided to say, forget it, screw it. I will eliminate the third leaf and I will just stitch the 2 that I can actually read. So I did, and I think I finished. I think by the time when I decided that I finished this in like a day, a couple hours. All right. Then this one. This is also from the same booklet that the apple pie and the leaves came from. These are called American Quilt. Now, this was my first time using variegated floss, and I was not familiar with how the stitch with variegated floss. My mom had just given it to me. She'd bought 2 packs of the old DMC variegated floss, like the 2-digit numbered variegated flosses. That the only other place I've ever seen them sold nowadays is 123 Stitch. But she had 2. They had multi-packs that had the entire collection, and she had 2 of them. She had like, I have a backup set of these variegated flosses. Do you want them? I'm like, heck yeah, I want them, because by that time you couldn't buy them anymore. So I was like, I want to try using variegated floss. So the red lines here and the blue corners are supposed to be variegated, but I didn't do it right, so you can't tell. I did do all the half stitches and then go back through and do all the half stitches. I didn't do them as individual X's because I didn't know you were supposed to stitch variegated floss with individual X's, or as individual X's. You have to complete each X. I didn't know that. So it doesn't look right. And I don't feel like redoing it, even though for the really issue, I didn't feel like redoing it at the time. If and this is another one that I want to find, because I want to find the pattern, because I want to do a part 2 of this particular one where I do the variegated flosses correctly. So, in this one, this was another piece that I charted. Yes, this is actually just a little, this part is actually just a shape, one of those shapes that you can fill out in Microsoft Word with their shape tool. Microsoft Word or Photoshop, one of the 2. And I did this, and then I did the border. And then I did this one because I wanted to see how the variegated floss was supposed to look. So I did the border in variegated floss so I could, okay, I know how to do variegated. Little fish there. And then this next one, this one is an Ink Circles freebie. I really like Ink Circles. I have a lot of their freebies. And I actually want to buy some of their actual projects. This is their first, one of their Celtic Knots. I think this was their December 08 Celtic Knot. I don't know. And this was, I had just discovered my first LNS. Because before then I was buying all my fabric at Michael's, and all they had was, and also forgot to mention, everything that I've shown you since starting with the apple, American flag apple. These have all been done on 18 count media, which is what I still use. That's my preferred. I want to try to get into smaller counts. I'm starting with the 22 count, the Hardanger, however it's pronounced. So I'm working my way up to even leaves. I don't think I'd ever do linens, but I am trying to work my way up to like Luganas and Monacos and even ones. But I'm starting with 22 count. But So everything else has been 18 count Ada. And then this piece is, I just discovered that there was an LNS very close to me that has sadly since closed. I was very sad. Because it's like a 3-minute drive from my house. Which sucks. So. But they had 18 count Ada in colors because Michaels doesn't sell 18 count Ada in anything other than white and cream. And at the time, they sold 18 count Fiddler's Cloth, which is everything that I've shown you since all of the leave the American flag ones. Those have all been 18 count Fiddler's Cloth, which I love. I love Fiddler's Cloth. So this was a piece of pink Ada, 18 count Ada that I bought at my LNS. And I was like, I want to sit something that would look good on the pink Ada. Until I realized that I think it's DMC 604 on the outside border here. You can't tell that it's there because it just blends into the Ada color. So, lesson learned. I have to watch my colors. This is another one. This is on 18 count antique white Ada, I believe. From that same book. I told you I love this book. I told you. I think actually these are half of the patterns from that booklet, that DMC booklet I got like early 2010. And really not much else to say about that. Alright, and then there's this one. This was a free pattern I found on LiveJournal. It's back when LiveJournal was like it. And LiveJournal had a very, at the time, a relatively active cross-stitch community group. Kind of found that same kind of community in Flosstube and the Reddit cross-stitch community, which I think I discovered existed through Dragon Stitches. I believe Dragon Stitches is the one that I saw that mentioned the Reddit community. So I was like, oh my god, Reddit has a cross stitch community. I'm obsessed with Reddit now, so I have to find it. So now the Reddit cross stitch community now is what the LiveJournal cross stitch community was for me 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So this was one that was going around on Reddit, not Reddit, sorry, LiveJournal. Oh my god. And I had to get it. This is also on 18 count antique white Ada. And I think this one was like a choose your own color. I think I chose DMC 498, I believe. This was a monochrome pattern, so it's like color whatever you want. I was gonna do this one in variegated, but then I changed my mind. If I redid this one, which I think is another one that I would redo, I would do it in variegated. Alright, next one. This is another one where I was like, I want to use the stuff I got at my LNS. Excuse me again, I'm so sorry. Also, LiveJournal was where I discovered that LNSs existed, and so I searched LNSs and found one, and I was like, oh my god, I know exactly what it is. So this is a free pattern from cyberstitchers.com, which I also discovered through LiveJournal a couple years ago, and I freaking love cyberstitchers. To this day, I went through and like re-downloaded everything that I downloaded like 5 years ago, and then some. I've got so many patterns from cyberstitchers, and they're all free. Most of my patterns are free. I'm gonna let you know. Most of what I have right now, and almost everything I'm working on, is all free patterns, mostly from cyberstitchers and Pinterest and whatnot. But this one was it was funny. It was an awesome thing. I thought it was hilarious. This is see this, but if he has to keep smiling and makes people wonder what you're up to, and then has a smiley face on it. I don't know if this is going to actually upload mirrored. I'm going to try to flip it if it is, because it's not mirrored on my phone right now. And this piece If you actually look, because on Cyber Stitchers, they have an option. You either see like a rendering of what it's going to look like, or if somebody's actually stitched the pattern, they'll use it as a sample piece. And if you look up this pattern on Cyber Stitchers, this is the sample piece. So anybody that downloads that comes across this pattern on Cyber Stitchers, and I'll also link to that pattern in the description box so you can see. Because I'm like, when I discovered, I just discovered this recently because I didn't even remember ever submitting it. To be like, look, I stitched this one, or if they just came across it in their travels and was like, oh look, somebody stitched this. I don't know. I never knew that they were using my piece. And I just rediscovered it when I was going through the categories, and I'm like, I recognize that. Oh my god. So yeah, there's that. Then by this time, that fan art exchange that I had told you about came around again, and since I was still in the stitchy phase, because I've done the challenge 4 times now, but I've only stitched 2 pieces for it. I've done other mediums for the other 2 years. So, and each year you get matched on a different TV show or movie or whatever, and so I got matched on something else this year. And the second year I was smarter because I found a spray. This was actually a video game sprite that someone had extracted and edited and uploaded for use. This is from, if anybody knows Scott Pilgrim, this is Wallace from Scott Pilgrim. He's my absolute favorite character, and he was also the person I matched with that year, who also turned out to be Maud. That was fun. That was fun. She also loved Wallace, so I was like, oh my god. But it took me a long time to find this piece. I actually found it on DeviantArt a long. I was like about 3 weeks to a month into my work. So I actually started another piece, and that'll get right up later. But then I found this, and I scrapped that and started and did this one because this is what I wanted to do. So. Alright, and then that's about when my first little break happened. Because then my next piece isn't for about it went like 6 months before my next piece. This is another one from Cyber Stitchers. It's got a little tiny flag. It's a Yankee Doodle Dandy. And this was kind of my attempt to be like, okay, I want to do a 4th of July piece every year. So I did this one because it was quick. I think I actually finished it late. But then this was actually, and then I did the one little piece. But this was about this time that I got into one of my other little hobbies. That I'll mention when I get into the Know Your Needleworker tag that I'm going to do after this video, or after I'm done with going over all of these. So I actually, this one and the little piece that I'll insert somewhere, probably at the end of this video, is are my last finishes for 4 years. I lost my stitchy bug for 4 years. So every other finish that I'm going to show you has been done in the last month and a half. Okay. So now, 4 year hiatus, came back mid-June last year. And first finish this year is this one. This was for a contest on DeviantArt, where the theme was tribal and totemic. It's for stitching pirates on DeviantArt. I'll link to them in the description below as well. I'm gonna okay. And I just gotten back into stitching. I discovered this contest about the 26th of June, and the contest ended on the 30th of June. And I was determined to submit something. So I finished this in about 3 days. I think I actually uploaded and submitted this on the 30th of June. Did not win. That's okay. The fact that I finished this in 3 days and submitted it to the contest, like I said I would. I accomplished that. Makes me feel good. This was one I found on Pinterest. Again, free pattern. And yeah. Then the next one is this. And again, everything, then Yankee Doodle Daddy was on 18 count white Ada. And the next 3 finishes, the dolphin, this one, and my next finish are all on 18 count fiddler's cloth. Or no, sorry. Yeah. Are all 18 count fiddler's cloth. Because that's what we had available. So this is my next finish. This one was actually submitted to, I cross-stitched it, I'm not ashamed of it, on Facebook. This was done by Stitching the Night Away. I have a couple of her patterns. Loretta Oliver from Stitching the Night Away. And this was done, she had designed this in response to the United States Supreme Court legalizing same-sex marriage. And same-sex marriage is one of my hot-button issues. I personally, I'm an ally myself, but I have friends and family who are LGBT, and I'm very supportive of everyone having the right to live life as they please, as long as they're not hurting anybody. So I jumped. This pattern is actually what brought back my stitchy bug after 4 years. I was like, I want to stitch this. I have to stitch this. So I stitched this, and I got about, I think I started with the orange. So I got the orange completely done, I think, and then I got prompted to do the dolphin. Put this aside, did the dolphin, finish the dolphin, finish this. So there's that. And then next one is, this is a brushstroke butterfly. This is also by Loretta from Stitching the Night Away. I saw this when I was browsing her site after getting the Love Wins, that's what it's called. And I actually did not use the recommended colors because I didn't think they would look that great on the fiddler's cloth. So I was like, I did it in more rusty colors because when I think of fiddler's cloth, I think of like country stuff and rustic. So I did it in kind of muted rustic. Sorry about that. I ran out of my phone said, "Oh yeah, you have a limit of like X amount of space that you can record." So it cut me off. Lovely. But that's really all I had to say about the butterfly. So I'll just continue on. My next piece, this is a series of patterns from Dork Stitch, little blog on that I discovered through DeviantArt, and I stitched these all as one piece. This is the Big Bang Theory cast, which is one of my current favorite TV shows that I'm trying to appreciate in my own right. I'll tell you all about that in another video, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so I stitched the entire little cast. Aren't they just so cute? And this is on 18 count white Ada. I believe this is 18 count white. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. No, this is 18 count antique white. This is antique white. Sorry. And then I'll do these next 2 finishes together because they're so small. I'm going to make these into magnets. These are a little fox and a little hummingbird. that I found on Pinterest. The fox is on 18 count fiddler's cloth and the hummingbird is on 18 count white Ada. And now I have my one and only FFO. And technically it's not even really finished because we have to redo some parts, but it's more FFO than everything else that I have. This is a birth announcement for my nephew who is two months old, just a little over 2 months old. This is another free pattern from Cyber Stitchers. I cannot remember the designer. So this part was all charted, and then I added his name and birth information. And my latest finish, this one. This is Sweethearts. This is an 18 count white Ada. This is a free pattern on DMC site. And I actually, this one also almost got to UFO status because I actually messed this, you can't tell, but I actually messed this up. I miscounted and it didn't meet together right at the bottom. But you couldn't tell from looking at it. So. And now my whips and UFOs. First whip is this one, which I barely started on. This is on that same, because I still have some left over. The same pink Ada that the Celtic knot. This is another kind of a Celtic knot. This is again, free pattern from Cyber Stitchers. And I barely started this part when I got the idea to do my nephew's birth announcement. So I did that instead and focused all my energy on that. And then I got focused on my next whip. And yeah, this has just been on the back burner. I really need to put some more stitches in it. I really do. I think I will. Hopefully soon. Because what happened, why that I didn't go back to work on that one when I went to work, when I finished this, the birth announcement, was that Stitching Pirates announced their next contest. And their next contest is butterflies and beads. So this is a piece. It's called Butterflies Mahayone. I think the site that I got this from is French, so I don't know how to say it. Once I do my next whip update, I will make sure to have copies of what this one and that one look like, because they're actually both on my phone right now, and that's what I'm using to record, so I can't pull it up. But I went through about 5 different pattern options before I settled on this one for the butterflies contest. And I've got, this one's actually in pages, so all this right here, because it's printed rather large. I think I'm okay showing you a little bit of the chart because it is free, so I'm not going to see how large the symbols are. So this was all page 1. All this up to where kind of this line meets here. That's all page 1. This will all be page 2, up to where the butterflies kind of cut off. That's the dividing line of the page. And then it goes 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe. So that's that. I have deadline for this one is October 31st. So I'm pretty sure I can. It's only 85 by 110. And this is on 18 count cremated. And then there's this next one. I've done barely anything on it. This is actually a pattern that I designed myself. I don't have a name for it yet. It's still technically untitled. But, yeah. You'll be able to see a little bit more of it once I get more done. This is also on this is also an 18 count fiddler's cloth. This is actually was a scrap piece of fiddler's cloth, and I designed the piece that I'm stitching on it. I designed it to match the dimensions with the 1-inch border that I'm used to stitching with. And then this one. This one I just started the other day. I originally wasn't going to start it, then I realized I'm stitching it for my dad, whose birthday happens to be the day I'm recording this. I was hoping to have it done by then, but it didn't happen. Stitching went a lot slower than I thought it would, so I told him I'm working on something for him, and I'm gonna wait till this is an FFO before I give it to him or show it to him. At this point now, because I was gonna try to get the stitching done, show it to him, and then FFO it, and then actually give it to him. But now that I didn't finish, I'm like, I'm just gonna do the whole thing, just FFO it, and give it to him when it's an FFO. So it's going to be the New York Jets logo minus the green part because I don't want to stitch it full coverage. And I had, this is the same fabric that the Keep Smiling one is on. This is 18 count Victorian Green Ada. This was also purchased at my LNS before it closed. And I actually bought this green fabric at my LNS to stitch this pattern. I had it charted at one point and lost the chart, so I recharted it, and there we go. Now these two are probably going to go into UFO status. I don't know. This one here on my left, your right. This is actually the piece that I started with when I was working on, when I did the Wallace one from Scott Pilgrim. This is Kim from Scott Pilgrim, from the same game that the Wallace sprite came for. This one I could actually rechart in PC Stitch if I wanted to, because I know exactly where I got this, and I can guarantee you that I could rechart this, and I think I will rechart this one and actually finish this one, but I don't know yet. And there's this one. This one I started for my cousin. It's supposed to be the winged Triforce from Legend of Zelda. And I've been trying to rechart this one because I want to do this. I want to finish this one. I was gonna do the wings. This part and the wings were gonna be in 498, and then I was gonna do the actual Triforce in DMC light effects, the DMC metallics, and it was gonna look awesome. But I lost the pattern. I don't think I ever printed it out. I think it was just working digitally. And I've done at least one computer change and at least two hard drive formats. And then that hard drive's completely died. So I do not have this pattern anymore. And anytime I try to find the pattern so it charts exactly the same way the original was, it does not chart exactly the same way the original charted. So I'm thinking I might have to frog all of this and repurpose the fabric, which makes me sad. Oh wow. So now that I've gotten through my whips and my finishes, go ahead and do the Know Your Needleworker tag and then finish this one up. Okay, first question, where do you live? I am currently in Tucson, Arizona. That is my hometown. I did spend some time in Denver, Colorado, but I came home because reasons. So I am back home. I'm actually currently staying with my parents while I get some things squared away financially, so I can get back on my feet. Since I've been unemployed for the last month, and yeah, and been in some terrible things, been in a terrible financial situation for far longer than that. But so things happen, and Mom's like, "Come home. We won't charge you anything. You'll have no expenses other than your cell phone, and you can get yourself squared back away. You can get everything taken care of, so you can get your own place." So that's what I'm doing. What do you do for a living? Is question 2. Like I just said, I've been unemployed for the last almost 2 months, but I do start a job on Monday. I will probably have already started by um, by the time this video goes up, where I'm going to be a customer service representative through a third-party company for FedEx. My last job, I was a customer service representative for Verizon Wireless and through another third-party employer, and that didn't go so great. But so I got this new job. I start Monday. So yeah, customer service representative for FedEx. Yay! Number 3, do you have any children? No. And no. Someday. Do you have any pets? No, not yet. Not until I get my own place. But my parents do have 4 cats. Which is a part of the reason why I'm waiting to get a pet when I get my own place, because we don't need 5 cats in this house. We just don't. Number 5. What are your other hobbies besides stitching? What aren't my hobbies? I read, I write, I blog, I play video games. I want to get into the Let's Playing scene. And the big one, the one that actually got me into my longest stitchy bug lost, my longest stitching hiatus, I'm into nail art. I own about 500 bottles of nail polish, and I love to do my own nails. I love to do nail art, all that. So that's my biggest hobby besides stitching. Number 6. What is your favorite movie? Well, obviously one of them is Scott Pilgrim versus the World, first judging by my one of my fishes and one of my whips. I love Scott Pilgrim. I've read the entire comic series. I actually did not like how the movie ended compared to the comics. They finished the comics before I watched the movie. I made sure. But my absolute 100% all-time favorite movie is The Social Network. What is your favorite TV show? So out of what I currently, what's on now, I would have to say The Big Bang Theory. And my favorite show of all time is Reaper. It was on for 2 seasons back on 2007, 2008. I would say it's a casualty of the writer's strike. But yeah, that is my absolute all-time favorite show. It was about this guy whose parents made a deal with the devil. So now his job is to capture souls escaped from hell for the devil. And it was hilarious. Number 8. What is your favorite book? Do I have to only list one? I love, as like my favorite childhood books, I love Matilda. Hated the movie. Love Mara Wilson, especially now her blog, her Facebook. I love Mara Wilson, but I do not like the writing in the movie version of Matilda, because I absolutely love the book. And then absolute all-time number 1 favorite book from childhood is The Giver. Don't ever ask me about the movie. Just don't. No. It's just imagine how Harry Potter fans would have felt if Warner Brothers had fucked up the Harry Potter movies. And that is how I feel about the Giver movie. Sorry, Jeff Bridges. No, you messed it up. Sorry. That's another rant for another video. And then as an adult, I'd have to say my all-time favorite book is Brave New World. Aldous Huxley. I've actually read Brave New World because of The Giver. Giver ignited my love for dystopian fiction. If I were about 10 years younger, I would be all about Hunger Games, Divergent trilogy. What else? Couple other of those, because dystopian YA is big, and I'm just too old for YA. I mean, I'm almost 30. I just can't get into YA books. Oh, the Match trilogy. I tried the Match trilogy, but I think even by then I was too old for it. Anyway, so yeah, Brave New World and The Giver, what I say are my number 2 favorite books. Number 9. What is your favorite music? I would have to say right now it is adult contemporary. I used to be back in my teen years. Obviously, I was into the teen pop thing. My all-time favorite music group is Backstreet Boys. Absolutely love them. Have seen them in concert 3 times. Would have been 4, but the show I went to got canceled. But yeah. But anything that's like teen pop nowadays, I realize I'm realizing I'm too old for it. So yeah, I have to say adult contemporary is what I'm into right now. / soft rock, that kind of thing. And number 10, what word best describes you? Stubborn. I am stubborn as a mule. I have been since the day I was born. My mom likes to say that I came out stubborn. I was 3 days overdue. So stubborn since the day I was born, and that would actually make absolute sense if you believe in astrology at all, especially Chinese astrology. My Chinese zodiac sign is the ox, because I barely missed Chinese New Year. So, because if you know anything about Chinese astrology, because Chinese New Year doesn't fall on the same day as New Year's Day, it's usually sometime in February. If you're born in January, you're the preceding year. So I use 85's Chinese zodiac instead of 86's. So yeah, stubborn since the day I was born. So that's it, because I think I'm actually pretty darn near an hour, even though I didn't want to be near an hour once I combine these 2 videos. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And I think in the next video, I'm going to try to tackle some more tags. So if you watch this, thank you. If you like, comment, subscribe, definitely thank you. And hopefully I'll have some more videos. All right. Bye.